Welcome to the fuel pump video in this Yamaha 4-stroke outboard engine series. A stumble heard at all RPM ranges brought us to the carburetors through troubleshooting, which we removed from the engine in part 1. Over the course of the project, each carb was rebuilt, and it was noticed that on the bottom of each bowl was the same black sooty residue. It didn't matter which carb it was in, the amount of residue was the same for each one. It could have come from the hole in the accelerator pump hose or from the fuel system itself. We don't want to risk corrupting our rebuild carburetors, so we're going to pull the fuel pump and rebuild that as well. And the hose comes up from the tank into our fuel filter, out of the fuel filter, and into the input of the pump, where it then goes out of the pump through these two connections that meet up to our carbs. So right here should be filtered gasoline, and yet some sort of dirty substance was making its way into the bowl. The outputs here were labeled from part 1 when the carburetors were removed from the fuel pump. We'll be removing this input now. Squeezing the hose clamp and sliding it away from the fuel pump, we're now able to pull this hose off of the pump. I now take that hose clamp off of the hose and put it in my storage bag with the other parts. Using a 10mm socket, I'll break the tension on both of the bolts that are holding on the fuel pump, top and bottom of the pump, followed by the removal of both of those bolts. I put those bolts off to the side for now. I carefully pull the fuel pump straight away from the engine and notice that whatever's going on here was definitely not holding a seal. And I'll put the pump off to the side right now. We take a quick glance inside. Everything in here seems to be okay. I'm going to clean up some of this crap that's sitting here around the surface of this hole, just so I don't push any in when I put in a fresh paper towel. And now I'm dropping in a clean paper towel just like I did on the intake port so nothing falls in. The two screws are then returned back to the engine so they don't get lost. Parts bag placed back in, and everything closed back up. We'll take this over to the bench and get started. I have some hoses connected because I want to run a quick test before anything. I'll actually be using a foot pump for this. I'll start off by connecting this conical coupler from my vacuum set. This provides for an easy connection from the pump to the test hose. And that hose comes into a T-fitting, coming out one side. It makes its way to my vacuum gauges, which not only function to measure vacuum, but also function to measure pressure as well. The other side of that T comes down, making its way to the input of the fuel pump, the output of the pump going to the other gauge. And my setup isn't ideal, so this gauge is going to measure the pressure from the pump, and it's also going to measure the pressure from inside the fuel pump as well. And what I'm going to do is when I achieve that pressure, I'm going to crimp it off so there are no leaks from all these air hoses. The pressure on the left-hand side is going to drop to 0, and the right-hand one is going to be the one we're going to measure to determine that everything's okay. During this, I'm going to have to cover this other output port with my finger. So I'm going to have to crimp it while holding this port during the entire duration of the test. So here we go. I'm going to pump the foot pump now, and both sides are pressurizing. And when I get it to about 7 pounds of pressure, I've crimped one side off. The left side is dropping because it leaks, and the right side now is the actual pressure inside the fuel pump. And we're going to wait a little bit, make sure it holds pressure. And this is telling me most importantly that the plunger is okay, because everything else I plan on replacing anyway as far as gaskets, but that one's expensive. I'm going to let out just a little air we could see if I let go. And it dropped a little bit. And then if I let go of everything, obviously from the leaks, it'll drop all the way back down to 0. I'll let go of that now. I think this test is good. If I didn't have leaks in my fittings, this would have been a lot easier to set up. And if I had the actual pressure tool, I would have only required one tool to do this, but I wasn't going to buy it just for this test, so I worked with what I had. I noticed during the test black slime is pouring out of the ports. Not a great sign, but I'm going to swap this test and do a second test, which is supposed to show how well the valves inside seal, but I don't expect it to work because it does require actual gasoline to be in there to do it, to seal the valves. And we can see that there shouldn't be a measurement on the right hand side as the left hand side pressurizes, but there is. But I'm just demonstrating the test. Again, we would need fuel in there to help seal those valves, and there's no gas in here. but that's how the test works. A third test is done using vacuum. We could see also that it doesn't hold vacuum, but it does require gasoline to be in the system for those valves to seal. We'll see them when I open it up, how those valves work, but this doesn't work, but it probably would if we had gas in it. Starting disassembly with the removal of this O-ring, which looks a lot worse than it is. And now I'm going to remove these 4 JIT screws, which fasten to a nut on the bottom. Start off first by breaking tension, and they do have a Loctite sealant on them. As the seal breaks, black ooze pours out from the pump. I tap it with a rubber end of a screwdriver just to break the gasket seal on the top of the pump. I do this gently. As I peel the cover away, I can already see that something is rotten over here. We'll take a closer look. Something's definitely corrupted this gasket and also done a number on the cover. We're going to clean that up. And we look at this gasket. Yeah, that's not looking too good either. So this was ready to be serviced. We'll come back to all this. I rotate the plunger 90 degrees to expose this pin. It's chamfered on the opposite end, so it's not too hard to start to push out, but I want to make sure that both sides are supported as I pull out the rest with a pair of pliers. Because it's under a lot of tension, you could see as I slowly release the springs on both sides. And now the tension is gone. I pull these pieces off and away from the housing. And here's that plunger. I wanted to make sure it wasn't damaged. We tested that. And here's the main housing. But everything here is filled with this crap. I'm going to unscrew the 2 valve assemblies now. They're supported by a nut on the bottom, and there's a washer on each of the screws. The nut falls out the bottom onto my hand, and then I just flip this over to remove all the pieces from this unit onto the towel. Pull out the valve now, and it looks okay. It doesn't look damaged, just needs to be cleaned, and that'll be just fine. Repeat the same process for the other valve. The housing's now ready for cleaning. I take a look at those seats. The seats don't look damaged, so this piece looks like it's serviceable. Let's see what we got. This bottom portion is all sorts of nasty on both sides. Carb cleaner and a cotton towel is used to remove all of this buildup and chunks of crust that are coming off of here. It just took some time to eventually take all this off and respray and re-clean until finally everything was removed. And after about 5 minutes, this piece was brought back to brand new again. So we're going to put this piece off to the side and move on to the next one. All the other pieces are cleaned in the same manner with Carb cleaner and a towel or Q-tips as needed. And they came out good. All that nastiness was removed. Also the springs and hardware. The bolts have Loctite on them that needs to be removed. They came out nice along with this spring. The cover was trashed, however, and this is just going to require a brush to clean up. So I have a stainless steel brush that I'm using to clean up this metal surface here, this aluminum. I don't want to scratch it up too bad, but I wanted to get all that crud out. The valves are cleaned up very gently, and then they're inspected to ensure that there's no damage on them. Just removing any of that surface residue, that's all. These are good. This plunger's already been tested good, so I just want to clean it up with a clean paper towel. No chemicals are cleaning this rubber area, the flexible area. But when I clean the metal post, I'm using Carb cleaner on a paper towel to do that. I just don't want to get any Carb cleaner on the flexible portion of the plunger. And the plunger cleaned up very nice, just like new. So this looks good. We'll put this off to the side so it doesn't get damaged. The gaskets, as previously seen, were destroyed and leaking and God knows what, with sediment being released into the carburetors. These are not going to be reused. The O-ring was, however, serviceable. I was able to clean that one up like new. The 4 nuts have red Loctite in them, so I cleaned those up, and those are ready for reinstallation. We'll start assembly of the lower portion of the pump now. This spring goes into the end of the pump like so, and this spring sits right in this channel on this piece. We want to match this cutout facing forward with this hole, placing it in so both of them line up, compressing the spring as we do so. We can see that hole protrude through the cutout. The end of the pump and spring go around the other side, lining up the hole in the end of the pump to that cutout, such that when that is compressed, along with the top portion plunger, that when they line up, we could see the hole in the plunger through all the pieces. Just like that. The pin then goes through that whole chamfered side first. It drops right in all the way seated. We could then release pressure on both sides and it stays in place. Pushing in and turning, the whole unit is rotated 90 degrees till the holes line up like we see here. Raised notches in the holes of the plastic allow this to be lined up perfectly. I push it a couple times to make sure everything is working, no binding, and then make sure it's still aligned. On the reused O-ring, I'm using the slightest amount of Jack's 327 O-ring treatment that I've used in other videos. On this O-ring, just the lightest silhouette is applied to the O-ring, which I then place back on the base of this pump. This piece is done. Moving on to the valve section. And I'm installing these with the notch pointed towards the middle because I found it that way. The instructions don't specify otherwise. The screw has a washer secured with a nut on the bottom. I gently hold the valve centered as it'll drift, tightening down the screw just to snug it in position. And this valve looks good. I'll finish up this portion by repeating the process with the other valve. I have gasket 62 Yankee 24452-00, as well as 62 Yankee-24471-00. Working with that first gasket, we'll see that it only goes in one direction. This looks like it fits, but one corner is squared, the other corner is rounded on the bottom left. If you flip it over, obviously, you can see that won't fit, but if I flip it again on its axis, you'll see that this fits just fine. Small detents are here to hold the gasket in a position, but it's a very shallow gasket. We'll find that these detents are not very effective to hold it, and we're going to have to provide for another solution, but that's for later. This gasket is more of a membrane. It is very soft and also very fragile, so be careful with it. The bolt's called for Loctite 572, but I have 592, which many people use as a substitute, so I will apply it to the threads and then evenly distribute it onto the threads. I imagine you could also just distribute it onto the nut instead of the threads of the bolt as well if you wish to do so. A bit awkward to do in the angle needed for the camera, but we'll see I'm laying this so it is perfectly aligned. And as I tried to place the cover over, the gasket, it just fell right out. See, so we're going to have to deal with this right now. So I'm using a small amount of my O-ring dressing, and I'm just putting a little bit on this gasket just so when I place it in, it'll be held into position, it'll be a little bit sticky. Now it doesn't fall out when I turn it over. So now I'll situate this cover directly over the rest of the pieces such that everything lines up perfectly and doesn't push the other gasket out of alignment. So I've aligned the other one up and I'm seating this one down. Perfect. I'll now place all 4 bolts through. And while pushing down on the cover, I lift up on this entire unit so nothing separates or shifts. Holding it just like this, I take the other assembly and I push everything together. The screws fall right through. And now I hold everything together as one unit as I place each nut one at a time around the other end. And using a screwdriver, as I hold it in place, I just tighten it enough to draw out the slack of the first screw. And then the one on the diagonal opposing side, the next screw. And then that's followed by the other 2. And this is just to hold everything together until there's no slack in the system and nothing's going to separate. At that point, everything will be snugged down in a cross pattern progressively. I do a quick mechanical function check. Everything sounds okay. When I cover it up, I could feel that it holds it in, so that's good. But I also wanted to check it again with the bicycle pump and make sure that when I pressurize the system, it does hold air, and that tells me that none of my gasket shifted. And I'm just going to wait a little bit because I want to make sure that if any of those gaskets had shifted or the plunger had shifted, then this would start to leak. I'd have to separate everything and see exactly what went wrong. But it didn't. It's good. We'll get this back over to the boat and install it. I want to hook up the pump right quick just to prime it and test it, holding it lower than the fuel supply. Fuel pours out And now I'm going to push the button on the back, depressing the plunger, and we can see the pump is working good. It's not leaking from anywhere. I wouldn't expect it to. But now we can move on with the installation. Removing the paper towel from that port, I use that paper towel to clean up this mess that was on here. Or I start to and realize that I should probably remove these bolts first, so I do. And this area should be cleaned well because it has to make a good seal where the O-ring is. And this looks good, so I can install the pump with the ports to the right as I had found it, lining up the holes right there, inserting the screws and turning them in by hand. I start at the top and now the bottom, and I'll be snugging these screws down with a 10 mil. Now the book generically calls out the M6 thread should be about 6 foot-pounds. I snug them, but if you need a torque wrench, it's about 6 foot-pounds, going back and forth to progressively tighten it. Remember, it's plastic. Pull my hose clamp out of the bag, put it back on the hose, reconnect my input from the fuel filter into the in port, and set my clamp back down into position. And that concludes this video on the removal, cleaning, test, repair, and reinstallation of the fuel pump on this Yamaha 4-stroke outboard motor. I hope you found this video enjoyable, entertaining, and informative. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below, helps me out a lot when you do, and hit that subscribe button for more videos like this when they come out. When the next video in this series comes out, a link will be posted in the top right corner. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Would you like to reply?